Hey traders, Daniel here with ImproveYourTrades.com. I'm joined once again by my dad this week, Peter. Say hi, Dad.
How's it going, guys?
All right, so today, like I said last week, we're just gonna be talking stocks and like we always do, but then also, talk about them live here in these videos so that you could learn kind of like how we trade and how we invest our own money and stuff like that. We'll get the disclaimer out of the way real quick. These videos should not be taken as financial advice. Any stocks or investment vehicles we talk about in these videos, we don't have a position in. So we're just again talking about things, stocks, companies that aren't in our portfolios. And again, make sure you do your own research and don't take anyone's advice. Um, Take it with a grain of salt. So with that being said, Dad, do you have anything to say or do you just want to get into it?
No, let's just get into it. The introductions, I've been trading stocks or looking at the stock market since my early 20s. Been in and out of the market, made some good trades, some bad trades, and some trades I sold too early, some I kept too long. So we'll just look at, the trends of stocks out today and you could maybe learn from some of the mistakes we've made and just give you some insight.
Cool. Okay, so last week we talked about Ford, Wells Fargo, Exxon, and who's the other one? Who am I forgetting?
Facebook.
I have them written down. Yeah,
Yeah.
Meta, Facebook.
Yeah. Meta.
We're not going to check those this week because we have to give a month, right? Because the charts we were looking at, they're not going to be done. Our trades are not, you have to give your trades like some time to play out, right? So we estimated about a month from now, what would they look like? So it doesn't make sense to go back right now when it was just a week ago. Some of those things. So we're not going to peek. We're not going to look at it. And then again, in a couple weeks, we'll pull that stuff up. So today, what are we going to talk about? Did you bring anything
Yeah,
or?
I did. So
Okay.
I have
Give
a
me the
list of
list. Give me the full list.
let's let's go with Apple. Apple is a well-known name.
Right.
They make an Apple phone that kind of started it all for a lot of people. Everybody has owned an Apple sometime in their life. And let's see where the stock is trending on Apple.
Okay. I also tried to zoom in a little bit because last video wasn't easy to see really good. Anyways,
Yeah.
so here is Apple at 186.86. It's up 1.33% today. Did they have earnings? So they just had earnings, right?
They just had
So should I
earnings. So let's see
do
what the earnings report came out. Earning is another indicator where how well a new products come out. It's always introduced, and let's see how the public accepted it. So as Daniel looks up earnings for Apple, let's see if they met expectations. And all the analysts, has an idea of what they're expected to make, and let's see what they did.
yeah, so the Guardian says breaks year-long streak of falling revenue with strong holiday sales. And again, so like again, I'm a sentiment trader and a technical trader, and I'll just follow like what the news is saying, what retail is saying on social media, that type of thing. I just like to see what everyone's saying about a typical thing. So here's the Guardian. It says, 51 minutes ago, it said they did really well. I'm gonna pull a bar chart also and see if they have anything new on it. But yeah, like, there's a lot of earnings happening this week and last week. So they're saying buy for Apple. And again, 186. Um,
But like on that bike, can you go up to that chart and let's look at that chart and let's hit the 1 year mark on the bar chart
okay,
and
sure.
see, just to give us a little bigger, this is 12 months. And this will give you an idea of where the stock has been, and where it might be going to, and the highs and the lows. And there's always resistance levels, which means that a stock has reached a point where nobody wants to spend that money. So then it's going to come back down. And there's
Yeah.
always support levels at the bottom. So those are where a stock is not going any lower because nobody wants to sell it any longer.
Yeah.
So you're trying to look at that trend. You always want to be on an upward trend, especially if you have a position in that stock. And if it's beginning to go downward, that's when you sell and take your money out of that investment.
Yeah. So here's a look at the last year of Apple. This chart right here, this screen shows the last year of Apple, and I'm using TradingView. And I like TradingView because you could add your own custom indicators and stuff. But I like adding this volume profiler. And what it does show is, just like my dad said, it shows support and resistance. So you'll see it shows all the volume happening at support and resistance. So it kind of helps you, you know, identify, let me pull up a line, identify support and resistance. So you have like a resistance here, and then you'll have a support here, right? Because you'll see like the double touch right here, the double bottom, and then it jumps back up. Well, now it hit the resistance and it's coming back down. So in the next few days, it's going to test the support right here at 180. So Dad, what do you think? Do you think in the next 30 days, which would be, what is that, March? So the next grid line about,
Right.
right here, what do you think it's gonna?
Well, this stock, over the 1 year mark has gone up from the
Yeah,
mid 130s to 180.
yeah, let me
But it
zoom out
seems like
again. There you go.
it looks like it has resistance, which means people don't want to spend any more money when it hits that yellow line, which is 197.
Yeah,
So now it sells right off again. Uh, but it does get that support. So on this stock, I think it's going to trade sideways, but I think it's going to test that low down there at 164 again.
really,
Uh, yeah, I think the stock here I think maybe the sales of apples are down. Global sales might be down. Their Apple TVs are maybe are not doing as well. So I'm going to say this stock is going to head downward about 5-10%, maybe even go down to the 168 level.
yes, but let me, I haven't been in here in a while. I'm just looking for a shape. There's my square. So this right here is what we're looking at in the next, this is the
Right.
next month, this purple
And
box. So
and, and that
I
purple
don't think
box.
it'll tank to 164 in the next month, but because that's what this one is, right?
Right.
This support is
Right.
164. So um
Well, it's
so you're saying below 180 then, right?
I'm saying below 180.
Okay.
Where it ends up for the new support at so below 180, maybe to as low as 170.
Okay.
Uh,
So
so
yeah, I'm just gonna put, I think 180 will be our magic line. I'll say above 180. I think it's gonna bounce and then keep, like we talked about Facebook last week, right? I mean, it's the FANG stocks, the FANG stocks never die. So who, who knows? So
right,
I'll go above 180, but I'm not gonna go above 200. I don't think it'll hit 200 for a while, but because like you said, the last year, right? It's hit 196 down, 196 down, 196 down.
I
Nobody
mean,
wants it above that.
right, and it was encouraging when it hit 196, and then it went down, and then it jumped back up in September to like the 192 mark, and then it went down again, and it made a lower low from that high back in July, August. And then all of a sudden, you see all those green candles, which are all people buying. There's more investors getting into this stock than the red candle selling. And that took it back up to the 196 again. Uh, but so there's like three tops here. It's like a triple top. So I'm looking at to test that support level of 180, but I think it's gonna go down a little bit lower.
Okay. Let's look at what the insiders are doing. Yeah, see, insiders selling off. But sometimes it's just for tax purposes, so You kind of
tax
have to do
purposes
like a deeper
and
dive.
right. And if they bought it at 130, 140, and you made $50 or $40 on a stock,
Yeah,
that's good profit take, good
yeah.
profit taking.
And then some of them have to stay under a certain like 5% threshold or whatever, like 5% ownership or something. So if they, if the stock jumps and they get over that, they have to sell a bit to get back down. So again, there's lots of things. And then what's great is anytime you review Apple or Meta, Facebook, on FinViz, there's just a wall of like news articles that were released today about Apple's stock. So then, again, you could read into detail about these on FinViz, but like you'll just see, what Guru Focus is saying, what Wall Street Journal is saying, what CNBC is saying. Apple beats on revenue and earnings. China's sales down 13%. So, you just, there's so much research you could do on this. Where's I still need to find that one chart where it shows like the sentiment. I feel like it was TD Ameritrade sentiment. Okay, what's another stock?
And let's go to Starbucks. Starbucks has been around since it started. They're up in Washington, Seattle,
SBUX,
Washington.
yeah. Hmm.
They've kind of cornered the market on coffee, years ago. Now with competition, let's see where the stock is at, and let's see if it's a buying opportunity.
Okay. So let's start real quick with we'll start with bar chart, see what they say. Strong sell, 72%. Okay, so we could creep down a little more. Analyst ratings down here, moderate buy. So you have a strong sell up here, moderate buy down here, so you're getting a little conflicting. We'll look at the chart real quick. It's really low. Again, this chart is the last year, and it's definitely towards the bottom of where it's been in the last year. Lowest is what? Like 89 something, and it's at 93 right now. I'm going to scroll down real quick, jump to the bottom, and look at the insiders. Still selling, but it doesn't look like really strong selling,
Yeah, it doesn't look like much.
Yeah, it looks like just typical standard stuff. The news real quick, not much going on today, but January 31st, there was a lot of news. So I wonder, did they
When are
have,
the earnings
yeah,
on this stock?
so they had earnings. So January 30th, after market close, they had earnings, and you could see it. It tried to jump up, but then squashed right back down, for its earnings. Let me zoom in here and try and see if I could get like the 15-minute chart or something, because
Right.
you could see right
I
here.
mean, that's a
Yeah.
big one-day reversal.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. And I mean, to me, that shows me that there's some power behind this thing, but it's not ready to launch yet or something. It's kind of like yeah. Um, I feel like this one's loaded up and ready to go after looking at, because I bet you retail sentiment, because again, we saw like mixed, you have a moderate buy here and a strong sell here. You have mixed signals. People are confused about upgrades. Reiterated buy. But then you have a downgrade over here. So I don't know. What do you think?
well, on this one here, I think that it hasn't tested its lows. It still shows weakness in the stock. Uh, the trend is down. So, sometimes it's difficult to pick a bottom of a stock. And I think it's going to go sideways in that trading range we're looking for in the next 30 days. And then I think it's still going to go a little bit lower. I guess I'm a bear on these two stocks.
Yeah.
At 93, I think it'll test maybe down to, the 85, 88, try and find support there. It's going to be a great value once it does hit bottom because Starbucks, like I mentioned, they have kind of corner the market with their sales, and they're always coming up with new products. Uh, so I say it's going to be down 10%.
Okay.
So
So what are you saying? So
below
you're
90.
saying below 90?
Yeah.
Um, and then I'll go with the next month. Man, I really want to go above 100, but I don't think so. I think it'll test it, I just I don't think it'll cross it and, safely be above 100. So, I'll just say sideways. It's going to I'm going to say it's going to stay above 90. So, let's say it doesn't drop lower than that.
Yeah, I say it's going to be trading below 90, ends up in the 82 to 86 range, forming a good support level there. And let's see if that will be a good launch pad, as you mentioned.
Okay, and then one more.
Let's go to Tesla, Mr. Musk. Let's see how his electric cars are doing.
Yeah, let me look at bar chart first.
He
I already know this one's gonna be, yeah, Tesla's wild. So strong sell. They're saying get rid of your Teslas. And then you have a hold over here based on 29 analyst ratings.
16 holes on that. Only seven
See,
strong buys
I
and
was
four
gonna say I
sells. Yeah.
really like this chart. Again, for my sentiment, I like this chart. It's not just one person saying strong sell. It's just a roll up of 29 analysts, so and again, like you could click more and see like who exactly these analysts are, but I like to get like a big picture, and not just trust one source to tell me get rid of your Tesla, it's garbage.
Right. And when's the earning date? Yeah, I don't see it. Okay, they just had earnings back on January 24th, I think
Oh,
I
did
saw.
they? Yeah.
Yeah, when you showed.
Yeah, it's
And
January 24th after market close, and look, it gapped down, so there was a support here, and it was writing support at
right,
earnings. And
right.
then yeah, I mean, when you're
And
at any level, support or resistance at earnings, like I feel like it makes it really weak, that support's really weak or that resistance is really weak because markets overreact,
well, on earnings, the one thing I have learned over the years is don't buy a stock if some analysts have told you, oh, they're going to have record-breaking earnings. In the years past, I bought a stock, Snap, and I bought it thinking that they said earnings were going to be great. Well, the earnings were great, but their forecast for that following year it was below expectations. So the stock tanked down, even though it had better earnings. So sometimes actually you have to do a lot of research, go with the trend. And even then, the market can surprise you and, like Tesla here and drop down that, from trading at support level now down to 188. So
so
I think
don't tell
this
me
was
you're
a hard one.
bullish on this one.
Yeah, and this was a hard one for me to read. But if you look at the purple line, that's a downward channel. The purple
Yeah.
to that blue line,
Yeah, right.
it is trending down, and and Tesla is such a mover and a shaker. Uh, but if you look at the very bottom with those candles for the volume, there's a lot of selling over the this since the beginning of the year. So I say the stock's going to travel down lower, back down to the 160 range where it was back last May. So I'm looking for Tesla to drop down to 160, 165.
Okay, so if you had to go above or below 160, well, 165, above or below.
I will go below 165
Below 165. And then I'll go
because
below
yeah,
165 too. It's just so much red on this one.
there's so much, and so that means their competition, from either American motors or American manufacturers, their sales, they're similar to, in a way, to Apple. They have Chinese sales. I'm sure the Chinese market is very competitive with their Chinese
Yeah.
uh, electric car companies. So Tesla's, it's very, years ago they were all by themselves building electric cars. Now the competition has really stepped up. On the insider trading, is there any insider trading on this stock?
Well, there is obviously red. I think it's just across the board. Everyone's, taking profits. I mean, again, the market's all-time high, and it's, people are just
Yeah. And
slowly
and the
getting out of things.
and the shares aren't that many, 4,000, ten
Right.
thousand. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
there's
was
no mass sell here.
Yeah.
It's
I was
just,
gonna say that's what I always look at. I look at how much they got rid of and how much they own. So if it's only like literally 3.5% or
right.
4% of their position, it's like, yeah, they're not exiting,
No.
if you see someone get rid of half their stuff or whatever. Um, but they also try and hide it too. Some companies try and get out 4% at a time, and before you know it, that little 4% over a year, like Zuckerberg last week, right? He was just getting rid of all his stuff, and it's like, I don't, you do your thing. I'm not investing in Facebook. One more thing I wanted to say about Tesla is this blue line down here that's going up. It's forming a flag with the purple,
Uh-huh.
right? So it's forming this flag, and price broke down below this flag. So that means even more like bearish confluence, like it also broke this flag that's been sitting here. This right here, so this again, this bottom resistance going up is the flag pattern, and you can see right around earnings is when it broke that pattern. It
Right.
broke down, and it's like, man, it's hard to recover from that stuff. We have a couple more minutes. Did you let me show you. You might have one more, but let's just take a couple minutes and let's find something, right? So I'm just going to show everyone how
Which is
I
a great
find some
idea.
stocks or how I filter some things based on what I'm looking for. And I had this idea the other day, and I just want to test it out real quick. But what I'm looking to do is I want to trade, let's say I want to trade small caps or large caps. So I'm going to come in here to FinViz. I'm going to click on Screener. I'm going to click on all here, this tab, and it gives me like all the filters for FinViz. And I'm looking for, so let's go with market cap. Let's go mid. Let's go
Okay.
mid cap. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to sort by volume, because I want to see who had the most volume today. And then I kind of want to like look at what's going on with that. So again, mid cap volume today, over 125 million shares traded. And of course, that's the NYCB, right? They just had like terrible earnings or something.
Right.
Um, Banks, right? So again, I'm going to choose my market cap first, and then I'll search by volume to show the most volume today. And then that could kind of signal to me like, hey, these are stocks you should check out because literally everyone in the market is trading these right now. Um, and then what you
One
could
thing
also
I
do,
and one thing I would add to your search here is go to either a 20-day or 50-day moving average.
okay,
At that, that's a good point, Daniel. Volume is so key. If there's a big volume day, that means there's investors either getting in or out
yeah,
of this stock.
yeah,
And that's what you want. You want a stock that has high volume because there's interest in that stock.
yeah,
And a moving average will tell you, okay, this stock is this in the last 50 days, this is where the stock's, is the kind of the average price of it. So if your stock is higher than what it currently is, it kind of gives you direction too.
yeah. So here's with your 50-day simple moving average filter. So
Yeah.
this should be trending or stocks that are on the upswing, right? That are moving up. So again, another thing I like to do here when I'm at this screen, I click on snapshot, I believe it is. And then snapshot will show me the chart. It'll show me like earnings, some data. It'll show me some quick news from today. And then it'll show me insider trading. It'll tell me what the company or the stock is about. So it kind of like shows you, and then I'll just go down my list. So again, these are sorted by most volume. And like my dad said, above the 50-day moving average. So you're looking for opportunities to, find something that's moving up. Um, but again, we're not going to spend too much time on this. I just wanted to show like, different filters you could do. And we could do that every week and just, be like, hey, here's a different strategy if you like trading this. So again, this is for mid caps. I'm just going to go back to my overview down here so I could see the table. And then I could do like, well, I could do small caps, and then I could change the sector up here too. and then just choose something, choose healthcare. So now we have the most volume in healthcare sector. Small caps, price above the 50-day moving average. So you have Arcadis, Bright Spring, Clover Health. These are all, biotech and stuff like that, if that's what you are looking for, So again, just changing the sector is fun too. Next week, I want to show you, Dad, how you could do like sector trading where, for example, like if I remove this, you could do sector trading where you find like the top, you basically trade, you get a bullish stock from a certain sector and you get a bearish stock from a certain sector. So you get calls on your bullish one and you get puts on your bearish one. So again, you're kind of trading the sector. So if you think tech sector is going to do good, you pick the best performing tech stock, but then also pick the worst performing one for your puts to have a little insurance just in case, the tech sector drops. Well, at least now you lock in profits with those puts on that really bad tech. So real quick, technology, Wave Dancer is the top performing one today. And then if I just search by the worst is Mark. So I could get puts on Mark and then get calls on Wave Dancer, that type of thing. But again,
Right.
we do a
All right.
lot more research than that. So, but yeah, I think that's all the time we have. So we should probably get out of here.
All right.
Thanks for
Sounds good.
watching, everyone. And,
Thanks for watching.
yeah, don't forget, check out improveyourtrades.com/resources for all the links below. It's a really good page. Thanks for watching. See
All
ya.
right. Have a good weekend.